All right, y'all, what's good? I know it's been a minute. I know everybody like, damn, where you been at? It's been like a month, 2 months since the video. I don't really got no excuses, but we about to get right back into it. So the biggest thing right now that everybody is debating is if Errol Spence is a Hall of Famer. So a couple of days ago, Terrence Crawford, he went on a podcast. He sat down and he said some. I don't personally think it was controversial, but a lot of people are saying that it's controversial because he said that Errol Spence is not a Hall of Fame fighter. I don't think he was throwing shade. I think he was just giving his honest opinion. Now, I'm gonna get into that part, the Errol Spence being a Hall of Famer or not. So for y'all that don't know, when I first got into boxing, my favorite fighters were GGG and Errol Spence Jr. Obviously, I moved to Houston back in 2020, so Errol Spence is super big in Texas. So I'm sitting here and I'm seeing all his notoriety that he has down here, and like he's just so famous. And I started to fall in love with his game. Like I'm like, he's my favorite fighter. So I follow Errol Spence extremely heavy from like 2018, 2019. When I got down here, it was crazier. So Errol Spence, I say this from an unbiased point of view, right? Errol Spence is probably my favorite fighter. It's probably the guy that made me truly fall in love with boxing. GGG, it was more so I liked his knockouts, and I didn't really like Floyd Mayweather, but a lot of guys at the time were saying that GGG should fight Floyd Mayweather, so I was just like, Floyd is ducking GGG. That was just it was surface level. Errol made me fall in love with boxing. Like I love Errol, but Bud has a point, man. So when we sit here and we talk about the boxing Hall of Fame, right? You talk about someone's Olympic pedigree, you talk about their accolades, you talk about their grit, their toughness, you talk about their ability to fight anyone at any time. And it's just a lot of boxes that you got to check off. So let's go ahead and start with Errol. Errol fought at welterweight. For y'all that don't know, welterweight is 147 pounds. He didn't go to 154. He never started below 147. Errol Spence is 33, 34 years old. He fought at welterweight for 13 years. 13 years. When he turned pro in 2012 or 2013 to his last fight versus Terrence Crawford, he was a welterweight, right? Now, that's not a bad thing. It's not a negative. He won most of the belts at welterweight, 75% of the belts at welterweight, but he never became undisputed. Usually the biggest thing that people look for, well, that I look for when talking about Hall of Fame with a guy is how many belts did he win? How many weight classes did he win a belt at? And if he was undisputed or not. Usually an undisputed champ is a for sure Hall of Famer, right? Errol Spence, he was never undisputed. Errol Spence, he never fought a Hall of Fame fighter, right? So let's go through his resume. He defended his title 6 times, right? He fought Lamont Peterson. He fought Carlos Ocampo. He fought Sean Porter. He fought Danny Garcia. He fought Yordonis Ugas. And he fought, am I missing anybody? I think that's it. And then he fought Bud. We're going to leave Bud out for now, right? Out of those fighters I named, none of those fighters are Hall of Fame fighters. They're great fighters. Sean Porter is a great fighter. Danny Garcia is a great fighter. Ugas, I personally don't think Ugas is a great fighter. I think he's a good fighter with grit. I don't think he's a great fighter. Oh, I forgot one, Mikey Garcia. But everyone knows about Mikey Garcia. He fought at 140 for his whole career. He was a smaller guy, and it was a big money fight, right? It was a money grab, right? So I don't really hold that, like, I'm not going to use that as a positive or a negative, right? Errol Spence never fought a Hall of Fame fighter. So now you go and look at weight classes. It was only 147 pounds that he reigned at. And the first Hall of Fame fighter that he fought in Bud Crawford, he lost to him. He didn't just lose to him. He lost to him in disastrous fashion. It wasn't just a great fight, unanimous decision, split decision, 12 rounds. He got TKO'd in the 9th, 10th round, man. He got knocked down 3 times. So I don't think that saying Errol Spence is not a Hall of Famer, it shouldn't be a knock on him. To be a Hall of Fame boxer, you have to be great, right? Now, let's go ahead and look at some people who are already in the Hall of Fame. So I did some research, and I don't know too many one-weight guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and the only ones that I could come across were Joe Calzaghe and Marvin Hagler. Obviously, so actually, let's discuss one by one. Let's start with Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler is not really a comparison with Errol Spence because although Marvin Hagler stayed at 160 his whole career, Marvin Hagler beat 2 Hall of Fame fighters, right? Marvin Hagler was undisputed champion for 12 years, I think. think it was 12 straight years that he was the undisputed champion. So he was at one of the toughest weight classes. He beat multiple Hall of Famers, and he's undisputed. So I don't think that you can really compare it. The difference between those two is Marvin Hagler defended that undisputed belt for 12 years, or if it wasn't undisputed yet, he had 12 title defenses. Errol Spence had 6 of them. So now let's go ahead and jump to Joe Calzaghe. Now, I know a lot of guys don't know Joe Calzaghe. He's one of the most underrated boxers of the era, of that 2010 era, right? He fought at 168. Obviously, the guy that everyone knows in America that fought at 168 around that time is Andre Ward, right? Joe Calzaghe held that belt for 13 years, 10 to 12 years. He held IBF. He held the WBC. He held the WBO. Obviously, he was never undisputed. He had to relinquish the IBF belt because HBO wanted him to fight someone, but he went to go fight someone else over in his country, which is understandable. But Joe Calzaghe had 20 title defenses. 20. Do y'all also know who Joe Calzaghe beat? Bernard Hopkins, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Roy Jones Jr., who is regarded as one of the best pure talented fighters to ever grace this earth. So right there, you got 20 title defenses and 2 wins over 2 Hall of Fame fighters, right? People were saying there's boxers in the Hall of Fame that have done less than Errol Spence. Who? Mostly everybody in the Hall of Fame are multi-weight world champions. I saw someone say Arturo Gatti. Arturo Gatti was a multi-weight world champion. He was a 4-time fighter of the year. I don't know, like, it's not basketball or football. It's not just Super Bowls and All-Star appearances. It's not that easy, right? Arturo Gatti was a 2-weight world champion, 4-time fighter of the year. Like, he had accolades, right? It's not just the guys that are 50-0, 40-0, like, just going to the Hall of Fame. Errol Spence, he just, like, his accolades just don't check those boxes. He never won a bronze medal, a silver medal, or a gold medal. He never moved up in weight. He never moved, he never moved down in weight. But I'm not trying to diminish his accomplishments with that statement. I don't think Bud was trying to do so either. I think you can be a great boxer. Everyone knows Errol Spence Jr. is a great boxer. He was probably one of the best fighters over the last 7 to 8 years. He was a top 5 pound for pound fighter. He was great, right? Everyone knows that. But I think too much today is you can't critique someone's record. You can't critique someone's accolades or just their body of work without being called a hater or without saying that you don't know what you're talking about. Bud Crawford is not insane for saying Errol Spence is not a Hall of Fame fighter. And I know people are like, well, that takes away from his resume. Bud Crawford started at 135 pounds, man. He started at 135. He went to 140, undisputed at 140. He went to 147. He cleaned out as much as he could at 147 to get to Errol, and then he cleaned Errol. So he completely dominated 140 and 147 in crazy fashion. Then he went up to 154 and fought Madrimov, won a bet at 154, and now he's about to challenge one of the best pound for pound fighters of all time at 168 for his undisputed belts. So I think everybody needs to take a step back on Bud Crawford. He was not coming at Errol. It wasn't shots fired. I just think, Errol, he garners a lot of love around the world, right? Not just in Texas. Everyone loves Errol. And when he lost to Bud Crawford, it was like a shotgun to a lot of people in the chest. It's like, damn, he just lost to Bud. But I think we just need to chill out on Bud, man. I think he conveyed his words very well. He didn't say anything disrespectful, and he was being honest. Errol Spence is not a Hall of Fame boxer, man. It is okay. He's a great fighter who beat some good-ass fighters. He sold out a lot of arenas. He won a lot of belts, unified world champ, right? Errol Spence had a great career. If Errol Spence announced his retirement today, he's had a great career, man. It's nothing to shun about. It's nothing to sit here and be butthurt over. He's just not a Hall of Fame boxer. So I just wanted to chime in with my 2 cents. I was like, everybody in the boxing world is talking about this, so let me hop on YouTube and let me drop a video and let them know what I think. Now, again, I don't want people to come in here saying, you hating on Errol, you must be a Bud fan, because, like I said, I am an Errol fan. I've been an Errol super fan forever. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I don't know what my next video going to be. I don't want to sit here and give y'all a date or a specific video topic that I'm going to talk about. But if there's anything else that y'all want me to talk about boxing-wise, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all that. It's your boy. Let's go. Let's get it.